Hi, it's Nicole. I'm back again with more positive impact for mind and body. I'm coming on a little earlier today because I didn't realize I actually had a prior commitment at 1 o'clock. So I just wanted to touch base with you about the topic I mentioned yesterday about depression. I think a lot of us at one time in our life or another have experienced a sense of depression over certain things, especially now. What happens is when you've experienced a fear long enough, it starts to become depressing, right? So things like COVID or not being able to see your loved ones, the fear of COVID or not being able to see your loved ones, or maybe experience work as you used to experience, where you were surrounded by other people and a social environment and you were integrated with each other. Now we're all kind of separated. And I know that's not necessarily the case for everyone anymore. As I look and I see more and more companies are reopening and including days at the office and including days for work together, that is kind of refreshing, obviously after so many months and years of being sequestered away, separate from everyone else. But what I've kind of realized or looked at different people at different times during the course of COVID and now afterwards, there's still a segment of people that even though things are opening up and there's less mask wearing, there's less stress and tension about where you should go, should you order your groceries online, etc. Um, what I'm realizing is that there's this residual depression that's happening. I don't know if you noticed that out there. And I think a lot of it is because we have been knocked pretty hard. We're recognizing that we are fragile. We're susceptible. We're fragile. We're maybe a little less uh, strong in certain areas than we thought. And bringing COVID to the United States has kind of highlighted that. Like, can we handle isolation for long periods of time? Can we handle this significant relationship that we've committed to for long periods of time? And why can't we do that? Or, perhaps you've started to realize that the job that you always enjoyed with those other people, you don't enjoy anymore, nor do you have any interest in or are motivated to do better at it, as a result of experiencing the job on its own without the people. There's so many different pathways that this can take. Take your own guidance on how you feel in this moment. If you're experiencing depression, there's a couple of other things that you can do to alleviate depression. But more importantly, with depression, more than fear, I find that there's usually some sort of I want to say, a predetermined path towards depression. So, in other words, if your grandparents or your parents suffered a level of depression and didn't have any tools to get out of it, then more than likely they weren't able to show you how to resolve depression for yourself or cycle out of it. It's something that is a learned technique. Okay. This is not a normal, um, what I want to say is how we handle depression now is not really normal. Just regurgitating facts and emotions and things like that isn't the normal or best way to handle depression. Especially since now, there are so many studies out there about how depression affects your health and well-being and your weight. So it all integrates, it's all a part of the same program. Now, with fear, usually it's an acute scenario. Fear comes on quickly. It's a realization, a sudden realization of something, or that you notice is making you vulnerable, like I had mentioned earlier. Depression usually has some kind of roots in there based in the fear, and that fear has sustained long enough to kind of create a negative emotion like depression. So, what I would like you to do is to write down first how your parents handled depression. What was their immediate response to sorrow and sadness? Did they hide it? Did they talk about it? Did they let it control them and create addictions? Or were they more empowering for themselves and saying, I'm going to focus on this instead, which is like a really big key right there, the focus. So when I talk to the angels about things like fear and depression, they're always telling me we have a choice. We have a choice. Um, and we have a choice to focus our attention on the right thing at the right time. And I know that a lot of you may be suffering from depression in your body. So you're feeling maybe uh, generalized pain throughout the body. Still, these are challenges that we're being given in order to help us focus our attention on what we know to be our truth. That's the first step, our truth. What's our truth in the situation? And like I said yesterday, that series of steps that you take for fear, you can also take for depression. Now, you also want to keep in mind what you were taught as a child. So if you're aware of the fact that your parents never talked about it, maybe start journaling or finding a good friend to talk to and just say, listen, I've got this sorrow going on. I've got this depression going on. I'd really like to just have a sounding board, even though it may not seem like that's your personality not to share. Um, that's part of the problem. Your personality is part of the problem. And that's why so many people suffer, because they're content with who they are and basically have not up until this point ever experienced it as a negative. So now we have people who are depressed, but happy with who they are. So you have to do something that's not typically you, not typically your personality. And that's not to say that you're not perfect already. It's just that your experiences over time throughout history have replicated this depression in such a way that it's made it very difficult now to get rid of entirely. So, but how do we do that again? We do something that's totally out of our box, totally not within our toolbox, totally outside of the box we're used to living in, and brings us to a new self-awareness. So part of that is finding a friend to talk to. Part of it is, if you're used to being sedentary, get up and get out, go for a walk, experience nature. Some of the more, I want to say, successful stories that I've worked with people in depression in the past with their weight loss have been the people who have taken up a separate hobby that has nothing to do with their work or their life or their families or their friends. So people all of a sudden become horticulturalists, or they want to volunteer for the young boys and girls club, or they want to play piano or learn how to drive a truck. These are people that have become successful at abating fear and depression in their lives because they changed their focus. Now, the other piece of this is, if you are, already doing those sorts of things, if you're already fulfilling yourself with these events and activities that you really enjoy, and you're still depressed, then you have to look at what you believe in. And this boils down to, you might feel overwhelmed and intimidated by life circumstances and everything you're living through right now, because you think you're the only person that can make it whole or make it better. But what if you asked for guidance and assistance from a support network, or God, or your angels, or spirit guides that are holy and good and are looking out for your well-being? What if you asked for that supernatural leg up, I want to say, supernatural help, guidance, prayer, meditation? More often than not, that piece is missing from a lot of people's lives when I work with them and their weight loss and they're depressed. There's this sense of loneliness, a sense of solitude, a sense of helplessness. And then if we add in activities that bring them joy, painting or whatever I just mentioned before, and we add meditation or prayer to that, right? And then we go through the 7 steps that I mentioned in fear, what we talked about fear yesterday. All of a sudden, there's a shift in the brain and it changes the dynamic of the depression. Then depression is only experienced at rare times throughout, their day or evening, maybe. But things like um, addictions, bad moods, the perception of things starts to shift and change. I notice people who are depressed really choose to hone in on all the negative things. Did you ever notice that, having a conversation with someone who's depressed, or if you think about yourself when you write in your journal, what do you see? Is it all negative all the time? I mean, there is something to be said for expressing a state of gratitude. But even if you can't get to that point where you're thankful for the roof over your head, for the ability to have a meal, even if you can't get to that point, you can kind of express a sense of, please help me, expressing needing guidance and help. That usually comes before saying thank you. But if you could manage thank you, if you can manage gratitude, all so much the better. The other thing is, if you're depressed and you're not really great at journaling, or don't know how to meditate, or it's never really in your genetic makeup to pray, you may want to find a tribe, right? Someone who does that all the time. And I will say, I am doing a free guided meditation this Sunday. It's probably going to be every other week. That's what the angels have asked me to do. But this Sunday is a guided meditation via Zoom call. So if you want an invitation, you're going to have to kind of contact me somehow, either on my website or through the podcast here. But make sure you message Nicole Fevrier Davis, not just Positive Impact, because there's no guarantee that I will get it personally. But every other Sunday, the angels have asked me to do a meditation at 11:11 a.m. that focuses on Christ light. Now, I was thinking about this the other day, that I know in the Jewish faith, they don't necessarily believe in Christ or Jesus the way that Christians or Catholics believe in them. But I am telling you, regardless of what your beliefs are, the people who have come, I have many Jewish people that come, they still feel the power of God's love in that meditation. So if you're lost, or you're lonely, or you're not sure why you're depressed, or if you just need a tribe, like I said, to help you maybe establish your own meditative practice, this is a wonderful way to do it. I lead you through a gentle meditation, asking for you to visualize certain things. And a lot of people who start this, they'll say, I didn't see a whole lot, but I felt really great. But then after a few times of trying and practice, you'll actually start to see what I'm talking about, and really create what the angels have asked me to ask you to create, is your own mind sanctuary, a place where you can go anytime, any day, anywhere, for your own peace of mind, literally. So when we create that mind sanctuary, then we go deeper. And it's a beautiful led meditation that everyone has really been enjoying. I just started it like 2 weeks ago, so this is the second time. But that might be helpful for you. The other thing that might be helpful, like I had mentioned, I think yesterday, is that you can go on YouTube and you can look up any meditation you want. I think it's very beneficial to have a practice, though. So if you're going to do this, try to find a time in your day that is perfect for you to meditate on a regular basis, and then repeat that. Keep repeating that over and over and over again, because that's the way to change the neural pathways from depression and fear to normal activity. And that also helps balance the neurochemistry and your hormones. So it's a win-win, win-win, win-win. There's no losses in it. There's no drawbacks. If you cannot spend 20 to 30 minutes a day on you, then there's some serious restructuring you need to do in your day. But that being said, I'm going to drop my my website here, Mind Body Mastery, so that you can contact me through my website, or you can contact me as well on Mind Body Mastery on Facebook, LLC on Facebook, or you can follow me had to think about how to spell my name. Hold on a second. Nicole's MDM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. And I will get you that Zoom link for the Christ-light meditation this Sunday. I really do believe in sharing. I really do believe in sharing our support for each other as well as for our planet and the people who live on it. Maybe we don't know who they are, but I really do believe in sharing that power and that strength of Christ light. So try it. There's no further commitment. If you don't like it, you don't ever have to come back. But if you like it, maybe share it and spread the idea with your friends, because as the angels say, we really have to address the fear that's happening in our communities and in our world, our planet right now. It's a crucial time, and if you haven't heard already, there's certain gateways opening up for our further soul evolution, and this is a really important time. This is on a totally different level. The Christ Light meditation will make you feel thrilled and happy and good to begin with, but aside from that, we're also doing something great for the planet and the people who live on it. So that being said, enjoy and love your mind and body. Take good care of yourself. Join us on Sunday if you feel the need to, or take the steps in the last meditation, in the last fear podcast that I did yesterday. There are 7 steps in there you can take in order to help alleviate yourself of some of the depression if you're experiencing that. But if you need a tribe, we're here for you. Sunday at 11:11. Just contact me and I'll send you the link. Thanks so much. Enjoy and love your mind.